we have to figure out a way to protect American businesses and entrepreneurs, and we haven't figured that out in the past couple of years now. So I think there's some benefit to the American people and businesses by focusing the attention on China.
I think everybody agrees with that. The problem is China's not playing ball. They're just ratcheting up the escalation.
But they're going to have to, though, Abby. We are their number one trading partner.
No. There's no have to in this.
Right.
Because let's start looking at trade flows. I wish I had a map or a diagram.
No, there is a have to.
One of the things that's happened is that the United States has lost, like, is it $1 trillion or $11 trillion since this all began? Maybe regained a little bit of it, but has lost all of that, and not a single trade deal has been struck.
And the reason why they haven't been struck is because lowering the headline tariff number is the easy bit. The 90 days is now going to be dealing really with the non-tariff barriers, the rules on procurement, who can own what this and that and the other. It's difficult stuff. It's very, very difficult. But I have a question, and I'd like to address it to my dear and good friend, Mr. Jennings. This is it. Today, the president gave a 90-day moratorium. Why did he not last week, when he did his show and tell with his list, say then, this is going to be the tariffs in 90 days. Now send your best people to Washington to negotiate with me over.
So if you guys don't know what's going on, and I'm sure at this point, the whole world knows what's going on. Donald Trump put tariffs on practically all of the countries that America does open trade with. Following putting tariffs, he put a 90-day pause on all the tariffs except the ones going specifically to China, and this is what they're talking about. Scott Jennings is more conservative. I think he supports Trump, whereas the other people obviously don't support Trump. So this should be an interesting debate on how they view Donald Trump's actions. Make sure you like and subscribe, and let's get into it.
For the next 90 days. Instead, he took us over the cliff and he's now pulled us back up again, and he's left chaos in his way.
It is a great question.
I think the answer that you would get from the administration is doing it this way gave him maximum leverage. It showed people that he was serious, and it showed people that this isn't for show, that if you don't deal with us, we are willing to act here. But I think the answer is leverage, simply leverage, and now he's going to be able to deal with all these other countries and continue to isolate the bad actor, which is China.
People that he's serious. I think he's shown people that he's crazy. He's mercurial. Honestly, if it was Kamala Harris behaving this way, they'd call her hormonal and hysterical, right? Look.
Well, you'd have to get elected to be.
But, well, yes, and if she had been elected, and if Hillary Clinton had been elected, if any woman had been elected and been acting this way, they'd say it was menopause.
She would have never stood up to China, so I think this is a mood issue, right?
No, it's not a mood issue, because his craziness and the way that he acts, and this is not in a vacuum, because it's not just the tariffs. It's the first thing he did was attack Panama, Greenland, Denmark, Canada, allies, abandon Ukraine, cozy up to Russia. It's been one thing to after another. But this is also very, very similar to what DOJ has been doing, where they go in with a sledgehammer when everybody talks about needing a scalpel. With these tariffs, again, went in with a sledgehammer, caused fear, destruction, distrust, when it could have been done with a scalpel in a strategic way. That's just not the way he operates.
Even the administration was not on the same page. I mean, it was the narrative around these tariffs has changed so many times. First, it was, it's punitive because of Mexico and Canada and fentanyl, which, by the way, a majority of the fentanyl crossing the border is from American citizens. Then it was, we're going to level the playing field, and this is how we're going to pay for tax cuts. It does not show that he was serious. It shows that he was grossly unserious. And so yet again, on the heels of a signal group chat and now tariffs, we look like a national embarrassment.
Let me just play one thing, let me play one thing to Tiffany's point. I mean, Donald Trump and Scott Bessent have not been on the same page about this. Bessent has been trying to paint this as a pretty rosy picture, saying, the bond markets had nothing to do with it, and the way that the market responded had nothing to do with it. Trump said the opposite. Listen to this.
Before they get into Trump's thing, I just want to say one message that I actually agree with Scott on is that not the fact that no other person would have done it, like Kamala wouldn't have done it, or what's her name, Hillary Clinton wouldn't have done it. But the fact of the matter is, China doesn't even allow certain American goods to be sold there. And this is not about me being against China or for China. That's just the truth. They don't even allow certain American goods to be sold there. They don't even allow Americans to own that much land in China. I can't go to China and buy some land the same way a Chinese person can come here in America and buy some land. So the fact of the matter is this. People try to pretend like America and Chinese relations are perfect. And I'm not saying anything negative about China necessarily, but there is unfairness in the way that they treat us versus how we treat them. You have a Chinese billionaire come to America, buy all the land they want. Jeff Bezos is not going to China and buying all the land he wants. That's just not going to happen. And they do have a lot of tariffs on us as well. Nonetheless, Donald Trump did make it looked like a very abrupt decision when he paused the tariffs. I will say maybe he didn't know he was going to pause it. Maybe he decided that day. That could be the answer. I'm not really big on, or I'm not really too deep into all the tariff stuff. I'm not. But we try to pretend like all these countries treat us just as fairly as we treat them, and that's just not the truth. And they can have their reasons. Maybe they have homegrown products that they need to sell, and if they don't sell it, their country's GDP will collapse. I don't know all the details. But we definitely have been giving countries a more fair hand than they've been giving us for a pretty long time. And whether or not you agree with us giving them more stuff and don't agree with it, that doesn't matter. The whole point is we do give more, and they give us. Nonetheless, let's continue.
Watching it, but if you look at it now, it's beautiful. The bond market right now is beautiful. But yeah, I saw last night where people were getting a little queasy.
How much of this decision was driven by the bond market cratering overnight? What is happening with bonds? Is China selling their bonds?
I have nothing that says that, and we actually had quite a good 10-year auction today.
It's kind of a casualty of being in Trump's cabinet that he will contradict you just a few minutes after you say something. But it had everything to do with the bond market. According to all available reporting, they went to the president and said, Mr. President, all the lights are flashing red right now. We have to change course. And he did, perhaps.
Well, he did. And I think it's important for the president to adhere to the advice of his advisors. These are complicated matters. The market, for the most part, likes stability and continuity. We all understand that. We talked about this the other day. With that said, I think the end result needs to be, can we level set with many of our trading partners and decrease the trade deficits that ultimately exist? If we can do that, I think that's a win. As it pertains to corporate America, I think once we pass corporate tax cuts or renew the Trump tax cuts, I think we'll see a significant amount of that wealth return in the next couple of weeks or 2-3 months. I think corporate America will be perfectly fine, and then we'll move on. The focus does need to be on China. I mean, Scott's right. They steal our IP and sell it back to us. I don't know any country in the world who would give their ideas away for free and then buy the ideas back. We have to figure out a way to protect American businesses and entrepreneurs, and we haven't figured that out in the past couple of years now. So I think there's some benefit to the American people and businesses by focusing the attention on China.
I think everybody agrees with that. The problem is China's not playing ball. They're just ratcheting up the escalation.
But they're going to have to, though, Abby. We are their number one trading partner. There's a number one trading partner.
No. There's no have to in this.
Right.
Because let's start looking at trade flows. I wish I had a map or a diagram.
No, there is a have to. And here's the thing. We have a big trade deficit with China, meaning that we buy a lot of stuff from China. We buy a crazy amount of stuff from China. The problem is China still gives us big tariffs. So we're buying a lot of stuff from them. We are playing ball with China, or we historically played ball with China economically. And they still give us insane tariffs on top of us already buying stuff from them. How is that helping America? Like, yes, we're funding, or we're playing ball, we're helping your economy, but then we can't even sell our stuff in America as much as we would want to. However, like, I'm not an economist. Don't take my economic advice. Personally, it just doesn't seem fair to me. And yes, people don't want to admit it, but China's going to have to play ball. America and China, we're the two number one superpowers in the world, whether you like it or not. If they're going to have to play ball. I'm sorry. Or it's going to be a full-out economic trade war. And we need China's goods, or we need them for the time being, and they need our goods for the time being. Some of the most popular items in China our iPhones and freaking Teslas. Those are all American-made goods. And we have a $7 billion film industry in China. So whether you like it or not, America and China are very closely related when it comes to selling and trading goods. Hopefully we can get past this. Who wants to have a freaking trade war with the second power in the world? We're the first, obviously, but let's continue.
You're going to start seeing South-South trade. You're going to see trade avoiding the United States.
Yeah,
let's remember.
Richard, can I just have you explain very briefly what South-South trade means for people who are, you said it a few times.
Well, it's basically anything, it doesn't go through the Northern Hemisphere. It's southern hemispheric countries trading with each other, avoiding Northern Hemispheric, and that would include the EU with its regulations, and the United States. We're seeing huge amounts of Africa to Central and Latin America, Australasia, Asian, ASEAN trade. Can I just also have a reality check here? The sword of Damocles, if you will, has been lifted again and is now hanging over on the big stuff, but we still have steel and aluminium, or aluminum, as you insist on saying, steel and aluminium tariffs.
We're in America, Richard Quest.
We still have auto tariffs, 25%. We've still got 25% on China. And we have tripled, or he has tripled, the average tariff overall to 10%, which is livable. I'll give you that, Scott. It's livable, 10%. But it's still a tripling of where it was just a couple of weeks ago.
But Richard, how do you account for the fact that China has seen a significant decrease in their economic growth throughout fiscal year 2024 compared to 2023, and how that has to factor into the considerations of Xi Jinping moving forward and trying to bridge some type of a trade deal with the United States?
If Xi Jinping was standing for Beijing North in an election, it would, but it doesn't.
Different kind of system. Effectively, no politics, Cher Michael. I think this is an important point. China, Xi Jinping does not have to deal with politics in the way that Donald Trump and the Republican Party have to deal with it. That is a fundamental difference in our system. So they can withstand.
Yeah, Xi Jinping, I don't know what exactly goes on over there. I don't think they have a republic. I don't know if they even vote in China. Vote for a president. Is he a president? I don't know. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video. My name is LFR JoJo, and I'll see you in the next one.